So guys, I just picked up Alejandro Agag, my ex-boss, still my boss,
yeah, right.
and the founder and the creator of Formula E, Extreme E, and today actually the E1 powerboat series, really pushing the boundaries of electric technologies, and we're gonna talk to him exactly about that in Zero Summit. How did he came up with the idea about electric, what the future looks like. So first question, Alejandro, how did you come up with the idea about electric mobility in general?
Thank you, Lucas. It's great to be having such a prestigious driver, a champion of Formula E Championship, driving me to the airport in Nice.
I'm pretty much like an Uber driver.
The origin of the idea, I mean, I would love to say is because, I'm an environmentalist and I worry about the planet and so on, which I do. And I really care about the future of the planet, and more as I got involved in this. But the origin of my idea of going electric was actually commercial. I was trying to convince a sponsor about maybe 10-15 years ago to come into Formula One. That was my business. I was doing a lot of brokerage of deals of sponsorship. And
pretty cool acceleration, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, nice. But I think that guy in blue didn't see you.
He's fine.
I was doing a lot of sponsorship deals, and I was trying to get this sponsor to Formula One. And they were almost convinced. The CEO told me they were in, but then he sent me an email saying, listen, I'm not going to call you. I'm just going to tell you, show you the trail of emails of all my team. And in all the emails they're saying, we have to focus on sustainability. We cannot sponsor a combustion sport. We have to do more for the environment. We have to. And I was like, oh my God, we have a problem in our business. We need to create a green kind of competition, because that's going to be where the future is going to lay. And that was the origin of the idea.
That was your click.
That was my click, yeah.
When was it?
I think about 15 years ago.
So
a long time ago. That must have been in 2005, 2006.
So you're not even in Formula 2 yet.
Just before buying the Formula 2.
Just before buying the Formula 2.
Yeah. So then I actually asked around. I remember asking around. It must be 2007, 2008, because I asked Bruno Michel.
Okay.
And Bruno told me, listen, I know that there is some kind of very early stages electric race cars, but they race really, really short distances, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And then I thought, oh, that's too little. Anyway, I forgot the question, but it remained in the back of my mind that was something that could be really promising. And then a few years later, I was having dinner with Jean Todt in Paris, and the idea came up again. And then I said, I have to do this. This is my thing. I looked at the technology. I explored. Jean-Paul Driot, my good friend Jean-Paul Driot, who sadly is not with us anymore, he connected me with Eric Barbarou and Pierre Gosselin, who had produced a prototype of electric race car who could go for about 25 minutes. So yeah, that was the origin, but 25 minutes I thought was not long enough. So I came up with this idea, and I proposed to the FIA the idea of use 2 cars per driver, and the driver would just swap car halfway through the race. The FIA in the beginning didn't like it. Many people thought I was crazy, but I said, listen, we need to offer a product that is almost 1 hour for television to make a real championship. We're not going to create a race in the city center for 20 minutes.
So that was the beginning of Formula E.
Yeah.
Then, Formula E evolved. Then I think people are more familiar with the story of Formula E. And then what do you think is but cars, in the end, they only contribute to 10-12% of the whole CO2 emissions. How do you see the future of transportation? How do you see the future of, you're doing now Extreme E, you're doing these electric boats. What do you want to achieve with that? What's the target behind it all?
So obviously the target is to have a world without CO2 emissions, man-made CO2 emissions. But for that, you need to fix many parts of the CO2 value chain, or unvalue chain, if you like. And what we are trying to work on is just the downstream, is the last element of the chain. But you have to work also on the upstream. It doesn't make sense to have electric cars or electric boats if the electricity is generated by coal or by petrol, using fossil fuels. You have to make the whole circle sustainable. So you have to generate in the upstream, you have to generate the electricity by clean ways. Obviously, wind and solar are the best, but also the use of nuclear is probably going to be unavoidable if we want to really reduce CO2 emissions. So you produce the electricity without CO2 emissions, and then you use it on the downstream without CO2 emissions. Not only for cars, for everything.
For everything, battery storage, everything. Cool, we arrived. Airport, Uber.
We arrived Nice airport. It was a very fast drive, 30 minutes to get to the airport.
Thank you very much for the talk, Alejandro.
We came on electric, 0 emissions. You're welcome.
e-tron Sportback.
e-tron Sportback.
So you're gonna take one, Alejandro?
Yeah, I'm gonna take one. Audi needs to give me a good deal. Hey, Audi.